Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday, March 27th, 2022, and I'm here for a short video. I'm hoping short. I'm going to try to be as detailed as I can to not leave questions in people's minds. But this is how to program your Anytone radio. It's the 878 line or the 578 line. It goes hand in hand because it's very easy without using CPS or computer programming software. Hopefully this time around everything will be good and golden. This is my fourth attempt to try to start this video, but the computer's been wanting to act up today, so might be time for a new computer. Have to convince the wife that. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get started. One thing that you have to understand with these radios is these were designed for commercial and amateur use. A lot of times when these radios, when you get them, they are in what they call the professional mode. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you real quick that the setting that you have to have when you go to initially write your radio. Okay, so I'm looking down because I got my quick keys going. I'm not familiar with a computer keyboard well enough, so I got my quick keys set up so I can do my transitions here. So here's your computer programming software. It doesn't matter if it's with the 878 or the 578. It all looks the same. It all pretty much functions the same. This step will be the same. So let's just say, for the sake of the video, I've read my radio. Always, fellas and ladies, or whatever you want to identify as these days, when you go to use your computer programming software for your radio, always when you plug in, read your radio to the CPS before you start making any changes to your code plug. That way you are not losing any information. Okay, it will overwrite your old code plug when you read. So then when you generate new information for your new code plug, you will have not lost any information, and then you can rewrite to the radio. Alright, so first setting you're going to need to have open. Go to your optional settings here on the left. It's under common setting. Okay, go to optional setting, and then you're going to go to work mode. When you get these radios initially, this will be in professional mode. Okay, this professional mode is great for two reasons. It will allow you to operate this radio legally on GMRS if you make the modification to the radio to use GMRS. Well, how is that legal? The reason it's legal is this takes your ability, when in professional mode, it takes the ability of you being able to program the radio from the face of the radio without computer programming software. Yeah, you will not be able to make changes to channels and everything, and it will not allow you to get into VFO mode to do frequency changes and allow you to program the radio. So in order to be able to program from the face of the radio, you're going to want this in amateur mode. Okay, this is if you are purely and solely intending on staying within the amateur bands of what you can be considered using under a technician's license, a general license, or an amateur extra license within the 2 meter and 70 centimeter bands. If you are caught using GMRS on this radio when it is in amateur mode, you can face severe fines. So I want you to understand the likelihood of that happening is very low. However, you are breaking the law if you're using GMRS mode on this radio in amateur mode, even if you have your GMRS license. Okay, I want everybody to understand this. This is how weird and crazy that the FCC is. If you want to use GMRS on this radio, you must be in professional mode, have it programmed, call it a day, and then use it in professional mode. But for the sake of this video, we are staying within the amateur bands. Thus, you're going to want to be able to program your radio on the fly, meaning without computer programming software. So I'm going to close out of that because I don't need anything else to do there, and we're going to come back over here to my ugly mug so you can see what I'm doing here, and we're going to switch to my 878 here. So programming from the face of the radio with both the 878 and 578 are almost exactly identical. So what we are going to do at this point right now is we are going to program in a channel. I've already done it once, but I'm going to start the process, and we'll do this over again. So make sure you know what you want to program. Is it going to be a simplex frequency, or is it going to be a repeater frequency? Is it going to be analog or digital? And I'm going to walk through all the menu options for this radio. This radio is much easier to program from the face than a Baofeng per se. Okay, Baofeng radios are a little complicated. This one's straightforward. You don't have to know if it's a negative or positive offset, and you don't need to know this. Well, you do want to know if it's 6 kilohertz, and yeah, you do need to know, but it's not a necessity to punch it into the radio like it is with a Baofeng, and I'll explain that here in a second. So let's go ahead and look at the radio. Alright, here's my 878. As you can see, this thing, even in the lighting that I have here, and eventually I'm going to get better lighting, I have beat the ever-living snot out of this radio. It's been a great radio. I've dropped it 100 times, and it's like a Timex. It's taken a licking and kept on ticking. So right now, if you hear my kitten in the background sounding like she's getting murdered, she just wants attention, so I apologize for that. Alright, so I'm going to show you real quick how this is programmed and what each button does, and hopefully this will be a little more detailed and better for a lot of people. Alright, right now we are in channel mode with each zone. Zone A, or not zone, we're going to call this band. Band A, Band B, and it, that's just how they classify each one. You got a top and a bottom. We're going to call this Band A, we're going to call this Band B. Just for the sake of the video, it might not be right, so apologize for the autofocus on my camera. I'm trying to do this as efficiently as I possibly can, and I've also lowered the contrast on the radio, the brightness, so the contrast wouldn't be too off. Okay, so let's get into channel programming. To do a channel program, you have to be in VFO mode. This radio, the P2 button, will switch between channel mode and VFO mode. You can change that in the software, but that is the default on this radio. So we're going to get into the VFO mode. Alright, now to program a channel, we are going to hit Menu, go down to Settings, go down to Channel Set. Now, before you even hit New Channel, you're going to program the type of channel, the continuous tone-coded squelch, if there is one, and your frequencies. Okay, so I do recommend having a repeater book or asking a ham radio operator what all the frequency offset and PL are before you go to program the radio. Have that available to you. I depend on repeater book because it gives great information. So we're going to go down to channel type. Now you're going to decide whether or not it's analog or digital. Right now we're going to do analog. It's already selected, so we're going to go back. The TCDT means the tone squelch or the digital squelch. So it's the T's standing for, your tone. CTC is continuous tone coded squelch. DCS is digital coded squelch. So some repeaters do use digital, some use analog. So we're going to just go into the analog style. I already know that that's the that's the PL tone, or I'm sorry, the continuous tone coded squelch for this repeater. So you would select that and go back, and yes, you have a bunch of different options. Okay, you have all the options you would have with another radio. I'll just show you that you can scroll, but we'll select that. It confirms that you've selected it, and we'll back out twice. Then you're going to go down to whether or not it has a receive tone. It's going to be basically the same thing as your transmit tone, and it varies from repeater, but not very many repeaters I know require a receive squelch. So if you do by accident activate your receive squelch, you will still receive, but it will eliminate the squelch tail on the repeater, so you won't hear the courtesy tones. You won't hear if there's a weak signal coming in. If somebody's tripping the repeater, it'll still open, but it may cause issues with your reception if you turn that on. So you don't want to turn on the receive if it's not necessary. The reason it will open when somebody's transmitting is because the repeater will retransmit that PL tone that the person that's transmitting is transmitting. Sorry if that's a tongue twister. So because the repeater needs that tone to operate, so it will come through, and that's why when that person stops transmitting, you won't hear the courtesy tone or the squelch tail on that repeater. So as soon as that tone goes away, it's done. So you won't get that kerchunk at the end. That's why, if you want to test to see if you're getting into a repeater, you may not even know it if you have that on. So you may think, oh, I know I programmed this right. Well, just make sure that receive tone is off if you don't need it. So we're going to get back into the channel set. We're going to scroll down past that. Optional signal, not sure what that's for. Transmission power, you can set what you start at. Medium, it's low, medium, high, and turbo on these radios. Offset, don't worry about this in this radio. Believe me, you don't need to. Okay, squelch mode, don't worry about that. Obviously, with analog on 2 meter 70 centimeter, it's all wideband these days. Okay, your receive frequency, check this out, 14673. That's a local repeater here in Frederick. So keep in mind, these radios need 5 digits after the decimal point. So type in, you can't just put in 14673. It needs the 5th digits. So whatever you have to do to fill in, it's going to be zeros. Some repeaters in the area, this might say like 7252 or something like that, but it needs 5 digits. So after your main numbers there, make sure you finish it off with zeros, 5 digits after the decimal point in order for it to work. Now I'm going to hit delete since it's already in here, but initially when you go to program this, you're going to want to hit confirm. Well, we'll just hit confirm anyway. Receive, set. Okay, it says success. So when you go to back out, just hit delete. Now, even though you're hitting delete, it's not going to change it to nothing. It's just a way for you to get back out of the radio, because then you'll see the back comes up. Transmission frequency. This is the proper one for this repeater, and once again, make sure it's 5 characters. Okay, I'm not making any changes, but when you're done, you're going to want to hit confirm, and then this will look exactly the same. And then you're going to back out, back out. Then let's see here, name. Okay, you can't do that until you're ready to finish making the channel. Okay, so right now you're just tuning this radio in, even though it's under channel set. Okay, busy lock. If the repeater is busy and it's receiving signal, it will not allow you to transmit. So I always leave this off, and here's the reason being: just use common courtesy not to talk over somebody. Same with transmission prohibit. You want that off because it won't allow you to transmit whether the frequency is clear or not. But the busy lock, basically, if it's receiving anything, even some kind of interference that might be able to break through the tone squelch, then you'll have issues. You'll have issues transmitting when you know you're clear to transmit. So just don't walk over anybody if you know that they are using the repeater. Okay. Oh, whoop. Get back in that. Okay. So we were all the way down here. All right. In the offset, here's your talk around, all that fun stuff. The rest of this is pretty much not. You don't have to worry about that. Okay. So before you back out of the menu, now you can go to new channel, select. It'll ask you what channel number you want to use. So I chose 1000 before. We'll choose it again. We'll just overwrite. Because like I said, this will say the channel exists. You want to overwrite. And then, you can put your name in there. So we're going to do W. Change it to numbers 3. Change it back to numbers. F. Oh, wait a minute. Delete that because I don't have it in caps. I wish it would just stay caps, but it doesn't. D, F, F, D, K. And hit confirm. Channel exists, replace, yes. We're just going to replace it because I don't want to put a third one in here. This is going to be the second one. Yes, we're going to confirm. Channel saved. Okay, so you've done your analog. There you go. Alright, and then when you come in here, it's going to be at VFO mode. It's not going to show the channel number until you put it back in channel mode. So here's the channel mode. We're on 6. As you can see, I already have this programmed in. Let's back down and see if my channel is in there that I just created. And there we go. W3FDK on channel 1000. Okay, so what we're going to do real quick, we are 17 miles line of sight inside a 140-year-old farmhouse. I'm going to see if I can't make a contact, and let's see what happens here. Alright, so I had to pause the video. As soon as I keyed down on the video, it decided that the RF wants to interfere with this microphone. So I can't show you a demo with this radio because the antenna is too close to the radio and it's feeding back into the computer. However, it's working. Let's go ahead and show you how to do a digital channel. Okay. Alright, I'm going to change the aspect here. Alright, so we're going to go back into VFO mode. With the digital channel, everybody's like, there's so much more. Not really. You're just adding a color code and you're adding your time slot. So you can pick whatever time slot. So let's get into this. Here's menu. Oh, whoops. We're going to exit out of this. P2. Okay, we're back in VFO mode. Alright, now go back into settings. Same thing. Channel set. Channel type. We're going to say digital. Okay. Then you can back out of this. Now I'm not sure what oh, good grief, I did not mean to do that. Let's go back into settings. Channel set. Channel type. Okay, save that. Alright, now here's the difference. Okay, you still have all these options: transmission power, offset, bandwidth. Bandwidth in digital should always be narrow. You don't get any other option for that. Okay. Same with your analog repeaters. You're going to want to type in your receive frequency and your transmission frequency. Now, if you're going to be operating in simplex for your hotspot, like I have over here, then the receive and transmit frequency are going to be the same. Okay. Then when you get down here a little further, you're going to notice a change in the menu options. Alright. Radio ID. There's my radio ID, KC3QPJ, to make sure that that gets transmitted out when I am using this radio. And this is where I think some of the legality of using SMS on DMR may come in, but it always asks for my radio ID. Okay. Make sure your radio ID is in there. And then here's your color code. Alright, everything so far that I have used with color code has been color code 1. You can select that. There's color code 1, and I think there's 15. Might be a little bit more than that. Might be, yeah, it's 15 color codes you can choose from. I've always been on color code 1. Never had to do anything other. Time slot. When you're using your hotspot, you're always going to use time slot 2. When you use a local repeater, you can use time slot 1 or 2. And I just recommend that if you are not using the static talk group of that local repeater as your talk group that you're going to program into this thing, that you're going to want to use time slot 2 on the repeater if you are not using the repeater's static talk group, just out of courtesy. And then, you know, if the repeater's not busy, nobody's using it, you know, there are no upcoming net meetings, use time slot 1. Okay, I just try to be courteous and encourage people to use time slot 2 when they're not using the repeater's static talk group. Alright, then once you get down through here, you're gonna choose your receive group list, and then it'll get you into, well, no, I'm sorry. Let's see here. Channel type. talk around name, transmission allow, radio ID, color code, time slot, digi encryption, receive group list. Let me see here. That I don't know, but it really doesn't matter, because what you're going to end up doing, you're going to assign this to a zone just like you did with your other channel, and you can select whatever talk group you want to talk to. Let's go up here to my A band. Whatever channel you create, you can always change that group as you go along. So right now I'm on my talk group on my hotspot, and it's saying text. I don't even have to use that. I go in here, I select talk group list, select the talk group, and then I can do whatever talk group I want. Okay, and it can be a person, it can be an actual talk group. I'm going to select my own talk group. Why not? Just because I can. Here's my talk group. I'm going to select that contact, and back out, back. Then I can go in, once I've selected my talk group, go back into the settings, select channel set, check your channel type, make sure that's good. It should have all the information saved on here. All of it's saved because I'm already in that. Then you can do the same process, new channel, everything, and then you can just do it that way. It's easy, it's simple, and it will save it with whatever talk group you've chosen. Okay, so that's a quick rundown, guys, on how to program from the face of the 878. This has been a great radio, and I encourage anybody that would like to start in the world of DMR. They're not cheap radios. Mine does not have our APRS. It does have GPS, but not APRS. The newer versions of the 878 do have the APRS built in. I know this one got a little long too, but just remember, guys, these radios can legally be used as an amateur radio and a GMRS radio as long as you are in professional mode. It cannot be used in amateur mode if you are using GMRS. And GMRS, guys, I don't care if you're an amateur, I don't care if you're a general, and even if you're an amateur extra, which are pretty smart people, they're probably all members of Mensa, because it takes a lot of intelligence to be an amateur extra. Okay, I'm going to talk to all you guys about this. You still need your GMRS license to transmit on GMRS. I don't care if you're a licensed ham or not. Okay, GMRS is not part of the amateur bandwidth, and if you're thinking that, oh well, my license it overrides all that, it doesn't. It does not. So I do have my GMRS license, and I do have my amateur technician's license, so I'm covering my bases here. I just want to stress one more time, you can use this radio for GMRS as long as it is in professional mode. If it's in amateur mode and you get caught, you can face fines and jail time. The only reason that this radio is Part 95 compliant, or what makes it Part 95 or even Part 15 or Part 90 compliant, is is its ability to be locked into professional mode, where it cannot be reprogrammed from the face by the user. Okay, that being said, guys, there you go. And if you find that you're not able to program from the face, just remember, check that mode in your software before you do anything, and change it to amateur mode, and then you'll be good to go. But if you decide GMRS, put it back on the computer programming system and switch it back to professional. That's my tip of the day for you guys, and we will catch you later. Thanks for joining in today, and I hope you all have a fine day. This is KC3QPJ saying 7-3. You guys have a good one.